Hi, this is Mashnu, and here is another example of attack, and this one is actually focused on removing a defender and making use of focal points. I've mentioned this idea of focal points in one of my previous videos, and it comes from the book Art of Attack in Chess by Vukovic. I keep repeating this book and the author because it's really a very interesting book. The reason why I'm showing you so many examples of the same ideas is because the only way to really understand and improve is to repeatedly go through the same type of examples. Many players make the mistake that when they study chess, their study is very fragmented. So they study some openings one day, and the next day they only play blitz games, and then the other day they study some rook end games, and then they study this and then that, and the study becomes very superficial then. And I think that the only way of really getting the most out of chess study is to concentrate on one theme and really go through it, so it really settles in your mind. You really understand something about it. Well, let's go to this example now. It's Capablanca playing white, by the way, and that's not a coincidence. No, it's one of my favorite players, so I really enjoy very much looking at his examples. Here we see that Black has an intact structure of his pawns, so there is no damage there, and he has also two defensive pieces, the two knights on g6 and f6. So mostly we learn that when the pawn structure of the opponent is not damaged, it's very difficult to attack. But we see here that all the pieces of white have been placed on squares where they can support a certain attack. All the light pieces, the bishops and the knights, and we see also the option of the queen maybe entering this way through this diagonal. There is also an option of advancing this pawn, and also maybe a rook lift like this. So these are all general ideas in the position. And if we look at the black pieces, well, there is actually no threat. There is also no coordination in the black pieces. This bishop here is looking at his own pawn, so it's actually doing nothing, and the queen and the rook are still on quite passive positions. Now here the game continued with the move bishop takes f6. So what Kappa did is he removed one of the defenders. After g takes f6, we see now that the pawn structure is damaged now. So the square h6 and g7 are becoming weaker, and f6 as well. The next move was knight to h6 check. So we see that with this check he combines both knights attacking one point, f7. Now black has to move his king, and he went to g7, and here came a beautiful move, that is knight takes f7. Now the idea behind this move is actually that there is a tactical threat on e6 as well. There is a fork pattern here, forking king and queen, and that makes it impossible for black to take here on f7, because then knight takes e6 would win the queen. So black has to move the queen that is attacked, and he went to e8. And now white made use of this diagonal d1 h5 and moved queen to h5, attacking the focal point h7. Now here black took on g5, and white gave a check on h6, so sacrificing the knight on f7. And this is a moment, of course, that before giving this check on h6, actually before moving queen to h5, Capablanca must have made a lot of calculations in his mind to calculate if it's really sound to sacrifice this piece, because besides the positional aspects and saying that all my pieces are involved here in the attack and the rook is also easily involved in a few moves, we need also in this kind of cases to accurately calculate variations. So that means that after this check he must have calculated what happened if he takes the knight. In the game king to g8 was played, but let's have a look. What if king takes f7? Well, then queen takes h7. The king can go to f6. Now bishop takes g6, queen takes g6, and f takes g5, double check, giving check with the rook and the pawn. Now the king can go to e5 still, and now white cannot take the black queen on g6 because black threatens to give mate on f1, rook takes f1. But there is a check here, and if the king now goes to e4, then the king and the queen are on the same diagonal, so there is, after rook takes f8, still the threat of queen c2 winning the queen. So if bishop takes f8, queen c2 wins. So this position is actually very rich in the sense of tactical possibilities, and if you like, it's put this position on the board and calculate different variations to practice this calculating skills. Now in the game, king to g8 was played, and Capablanca took on g5, attacking h7 again. Queen to e7 was played, and now he played bishop takes g6, and after h takes, queen takes g6, king to h8, and now the idea of the rook lift, rook to f3, threatening rook to h3, and in this position his opponent resigned. Now there was one possible defense to not get checkmated, and that's playing queen to g7. So then he gives the king the option of going to g8. So after queen to h3, king g8 is possible. But then the trouble is that because he moved the queen to g7, now the pawn on e6 is undefended. So queen takes e6 follows now, and moving the rook to f7, well, it's hopeless, of course, because this is simply going to fall, and white has many more pawns than black. So here, simplifying the position towards an endgame is simply winning. This is a one endgame for white. So alright, I hope you enjoyed this example, and there are many more will follow. I'm really planning to do many more examples on attacking chess, and to really understand better myself and help you understand better these ideas of how to attack. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.